I've been wanting to do this for a couple of days, so I figured why not. I was nervous about doing a ranking of the Pokemon games, because you may know this, but I have what one might call a controversial opinion when it comes to the Pokemon games. Unlike most people my age, I would feel like my opinions on the game are reversed, where most people my age would prefer the earlier games, and I hate the earlier games. So this might get some fire, you know what I'm saying? I feel like people who really love the earlier games have nostalgia goals. True! And speaking of nostalgia, we have Pokemon Red. Now, Pokemon Red and Blue and Green, they get ranked pretty highly, typically, because they're Generation 1, they started the games, you know? And that's fair, that's fair. But when I'm ranking these games, I want to rank them on gameplay, obviously, and what I feel like they added to the series. Right, so obviously Red, Blue, and Green added a lot to the series because they are the first games in the series and they are the origin point of Pocket Monsters. But the gameplay of this game really brings it down. I don't know if you've played Generation 1, but it's not good. It's not great. Playing this game sucks. Like, it really doesn't work. Like, Gen 1 has so many bugs and glitches that it just is an awful experience. And it's like, if you're going to play Kanto, you're going to play the Gen 3 remake. You're not playing the Gen 1 game. It sucks. One of the more notorious glitches is the 1 in 256 glitch, okay? 100% accurate moves have a 1 in 256 chance to miss, which most famously is a glitch that appeared in the Can You Beat Pokemon Blue Without Taking Damage run, where that glitch occurred and he almost lost his entire fucking run. List of glitches, Generation 1. Hold on. Yeah. So this is the list of glitches in Generation 1. Are you ready? Are you ready? Hold on. What? 1, 2, 53, 54 glitches from Generation. Look at this fucking list. It just doesn't stop. And people are like, wow, I love Generation 1. No, you don't. You like the region. You do not like Generation 1. Gen 1 sucks. So I'm putting Gen 1 here. I'll put it in... Here's the thing. I'll put it in C because it's the origin point, right? But gameplay-wise, this game is trash. It is absolute garbage. And you know what? I'm gonna put Charizard below Blastoise because it's Charizard. Oh wait, there's Pokemon Yellow as well. It's better than those just because you get a Pikachu, in my opinion. And then we have Johto. Now, if you know me, you would know that Generation 2 holds a special place in my heart, which is at the bottom of it because I have absolutely no love for this fucking generation. It sucks. It's garbage. It's the worst thing I've ever played. It is the worst. If you thought Generation 1 was grindy, Generation 2 is... Okay, hold on. I need to word this. Generation 2 is the single worst thing to ever happen to Pokemon. The Pokemon introduced in Generation 2 aren't bad. Like, there's some really cool Pokemon in Gen 2, right? There's some really nice ones. You get the new evolutions. There's Miltank, there's T-Tar. There's the legendary beasts. There's there's Lugia. Typhlosion's dope, and it has some really cool Pokemon. But counter argument, you can't get half of those Pokemon until the post game for some reason. Like, the cool thing about Johto is that after Johto, you can go to Kanto from Generation 1 in Johto. Like, it has 2 regions in one game, and that's like the big selling point. But all the Pokemon in Kanto are all level 5. Whereas the Pokemon you have from Johto are like level 50 something. And the highest level Pokemon in all of like Johto, wild Pokemon, are like level 50, like 1 or something in Mount Silver. It's like the worst grinding experience. Like, outside the 8th gym, which has level 40 trainers inside, the trainers outside the gym and the wild Pokemon are all level 20, like 4 or 25. So you have to grind level 24 Pokemon to fight a level 41 gym. Also, for some absurd reason, the gym levels in this game go down. Gym 6 has higher level Pokemon than Gym 7, which doesn't make any fucking sense. The story in this game doesn't exist. There's like a 2-hour plot point in this game where you fight through like 30 Team Rocket grunts that all have like level 20 Rattatas. Or Rattatas. Sorry, I don't know why I pronounced it like that. They all have like level 20 Rattatas, Coughings, and fucking Zubats. They're all trash. It's all pointless garbage, and nothing happens during it. And then you have the rival, Silver, who is just blue, but worse. It sucks. Like, it's such a bad region. And people defend it, and those people are crazy. So I am firmly putting this game at the bottom in D. That goes in D tier, because I'm going to be honest, I hate Gen 2. I hate Gen 2 so much. It's far away I'm putting it below the glitchy mess that is Gen 1. Because of how much I hate Gen 2. Like, gameplay-wise, it sucks. Which brings us to Generation 3. Now, you may know that Generation 3 it was my first generation, which is weird. I'm old enough to have played these first, right? But here's the crazy thing. So back in the 90s, back in the late 90s, when Pokemon first happened, I watched I watched the anime pretty religiously. I watched it every time it was on. I watched season 1 so much. I watched it religiously up until Generation 5. And I also collected the trading cards. Like, in, like, the late 90s, early 2000s. I think I still have some of them somewhere, along with a tin of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But this is crazy. I didn't know that Pokemon was a video game. Like, thinking back on it, at that point in time, I wasn't aware it was a video game. Which is, like, a crazy concept. So, I had the trading cards and I had the show, but I didn't know it was a game. And I didn't get Pokemon Ruby until 2005. And I loved my Pokemon Ruby. I had it on my Game Boy Advance SP, and I told this story before. I picked Trico, he was my boy, and I got all the way to the Elite Four, and then my save file corrupted, and like a Saiyan child, I then broke my Game Boy Advance SP over it, and then I didn't play Pokemon again until 2010, 5 years later. Sane child, by the way, I dropped a set of dumbbells on it, by choice. I don't know why. I don't know what young me was doing, but young me made that decision, I guess. Here's the thing about Pokemon Ruby. It has a lot of nostalgia for me, obviously. And I really like Hoenn. I like Hoenn as a region. Compared to like Kanto and Johto, it felt, and to Sinnoh later, it felt more unique. I know like the water routes are like a meme, but I enjoyed the fact that it was mostly water because it felt unique to the other Japanese regions around it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? It also had like an actual story, which was pog as fuck, right? It had the whole Team Magma versus Team Aqua thing, and like the 2 legendaries, and then the 3rd legendary to quell them. It was dope. Gen 3 introduces a lot of cool Pokemon that have unfortunately been neglected. However, Gen 3 also has some bizarre moveset choices. I don't know if you know this. So this, I would like you to guess what Pokemon has this moveset and what typing it is. This Pokemon that mostly learns grass moves. If you can't tell, the bold here means it is Stab. It is a bug flying type. This is Beautifly, which almost predominantly learns grass moves for some fucking reason. And you might be thinking, well, that's crazy. And you'd be right, because here we have another Pokemon. And you might be wondering, oh, this also learns Silverwind. And this, with its mostly psychic moves, is a bug poison type that learns 1 bug move and 1 poison move. What are these moves? What were they smoking in Gen 3? Like, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Like, it's so bizarre what the fuck they were doing. So, here's the thing about Pokemon Ruby. It goes up here in A tier because I liked a lot of what Gen 3 brought. It split special attack and special defense. I believe that was a Gen 3 thing. Double battles, which is, you know, the core of competitive Pokemon. The Hoenn region was awesome. It had a lot of good Pokemon. It had the best champion so far. Steven Stone is fucking dope. However, Sapphire goes here because Team Magma for life, as we all know. And if you are a member of Team Aqua, you should take yourself out back. I'm going to be honest. Pokemon Emerald is like the, and I put this in Dr. Evil quotes, better version of Ruby and Sapphire because it's the third version, right? It has a slightly altered story. It has like different Pokemon. It has like quality of life improvements, things like that. However, I cannot in good conscience put Emerald above Ruby. And here's why. Because in Emerald, for some bizarre fucking reason, they made this fucking guy champion. And to this day, I still don't know why. He sucks. Who asked for this? Why is he champion? He's garbage. His team sucks. Like, you can't be a champion and have a Wailord on your team. I'm sorry, but you are disqualified, and as a result, you bring Emerald down. That is just how it works. The game gets a demerit purely for having Wallace. And also, there's like a random guy called Juan, who is the 8th gym leader. Champions are pretty hit or miss with either being tough or trash. I feel like most champions have pretty good teams. Wallace and Lance do not have good teams. But Wallace loses points completely just for having a Wailord on his team. Like, what the fuck are you doing? His team gets swept by Shedinja. Like, his team's garbage. He loses points just for existing. Fuck that guy. And then we have a set of games that most people would consider the best. Wait, no, hang on, pause. I've skipped over a game. I forgot there's the Gen 1 remakes in Fire Red and Leaf Green. Fire Red and Leaf Green, I'll sum it up. Basically, it's Kanto, but good. So this immediately goes into A tier, honestly. Kanto is a good region. Here's the thing about Gen 1, about Kanto. It's nice and, like, simple, right? There's no, like, saving the world. There's no, like, you know, flair to it. It's just you get a Pokemon and you go and become champion. And that's Fire Red and Leaf Green. And I appreciate how simple it is. And the Gen 3 remakes of Gen 1 is just the Kanto games, but they work, you know? They just work. So, I'll put them in A because I think they're good. Let's go to the set of games that a lot of people would consider to be the best Pokemon games, which are Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Now, these people are what we call deluded. There's a very simple reason for that, and it's because they're not even the best DS games. Gen 5 is better than Gen 4, okay? You're fucking delusional if you think Gen 4 is the best. Now, Diamond and Pearl obviously go into D tier, because if you've played Diamond and Pearl, you know they suck. Platinum, on the other hand, is Diamond and Pearl, but better. However, it's still, unfortunately, a Generation 4 game, which means this game sucks to fucking play through. It's so fucking slow. Oh my god, make it faster. It never ends. It's like doing anything in this game takes twice as long as anything else. It's so... The region is cool. Like, it has, like, a big focus on mythology, and I really like that. And obviously it has, like, one of the better Elite Fours, and it has a really good soundtrack. And it introduced a lot of cool Pokemon. However, the game is painfully fucking slow. And it has that whole route up to fucking Snow Point City, where you have to trudge through the fucking ice. Oh god, it's so fucking shit. With the fucking hail, and you have the slowed movement speed, and then you have the fucking swamp down next to Pastoria City, where you have to fucking get stuck in the swamp every fucking... Oh, it's like they made the slowest fucking game possible. It's awful to play through. I hate it. And so, it's going here, honestly. That is gonna fire some people up, and I'm fine with that, but I'm just spitting facts. You know, I'm just spitting facts. And then we have Heart Gold, Soul Silver, which, you know, some people would also argue. Oh, by the way, the other reason that Platinum is this high is because it's a Gen 4 game, which introduced the physical special split. You know, which is a good thing, and we all can agree it's a good thing. But it's Gen 4, so it sucks. And then we have Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which I don't remember if Heart Gold and Soul Silver fixes the speed issues of Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Does it? I don't think it does, right? Well, here's the thing about Heart Gold and Soul Silver. People really like this game. And people really like this game. Yeah, it's a fan favorite. It's a fan favorite. You're right. And the reason people really like this game is because it's pretty. And you get follower Pokemon. And I will agree with you, that's very cool. However, I have a counter argument for you. It's a Gen 2 remake, which means it, by default, sucks. Because this game sucks to play through. It's great to look at, it's cool to walk around in, but playing this game sucks. It's fucking slow. They didn't fix the level curve issues of Generation 2 with the They didn't fix anything. They just made it prettier, and I will confess, it's a very pretty game. But it is garbage to play through, and so it belongs in C tier, because I hate it. Like, I love the follower Pokemon, and it's very cool, but again, why didn't they, when you remake the game, like these two games here, Fire Red and Leaf Green, they set a precedent. When you remake the game, you upgrade it, and then you fix the problems the original game had. And they didn't fix any of the problems these games... They didn't fix the Pokemon, they didn't fix the level curve, they didn't fix the shitty plot, they just made it look nice. A pile of shit with a bow is still a pile of shit, you know? It's still shit. Which brings us to Gen 5. Now, Gen 5, as you may know, controversial when they came out. Now beloved by the community because I don't know what the fuck happened. But they were very controversial when they came out. Now, Gen 5 is what got me back into Pokemon when I was in college. I went out and I bought a second-hand DS and I got black and white for it. And I love Gen 5. I really do. Gen 5 is great. Gen 5 brought infinite use TM to the table. It brought reusable repels to the table. You know, it had a good fucking story. It had amazing quality fucking music. It had beautiful fucking visuals. Gen 5 is generally regarded as the peak of Pokemon. And I would agree, honestly. I would agree. Gen 5 is top tier. That said, it is weird that you don't fight Alder in Black and White. You have to re-challenge the Elite Four to fight the champion, which is one of the weirder choices. But you know, I respect it. I would have preferred if you fought Alder and then N shows up. So that you actually get to fight the Ginger Twat. But it is what it is. However, I will put in A tier. And there's a good reason why I'm putting these in A tier. Wait. And it's because, to me, Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 is Pokemon Black and White, but better. They perfected it with Black and White 2. Now, some would argue the story is worse. And I will confess the rivals in Black and White were very good. The rivals in Black... Do you know what? No, I'm putting them all on this. I'm putting them all on this. They're all S tier games, but Black White 2 are above Black and White. You feel me? Also, Black and White 2 had the Pokemon World Tournament, which is still, to this day, one of the greatest things they ever put in a video game, and they never brought back. I don't know why Gen 5 always got the hatred of, like, the Pokemon designs. The only Pokemon designs in Gen 5 I hate is Gothitelle and the fucking elemental monkeys. Bro, I don't know. Why did they make Gothitelle? They had the chance to make regional form Goth Gardevoir, and we got Gothitelle, which sucks. It's so garbage. I'm molding about the Gothitelle thing. Oh, Gen 5 had the fucking Battle Subway too. It had the Battle Subway, it had the Pokemon World Tournament. It has hidden abilities, which means fucking starter Pokemon can finally have a proper ability that isn't fucking Torrent Blaze or Overgrow. Which was, oh my god, Gen 5 so good! It introduced so much good quality of life shit. It gave starters proper abilities. It gave all Pokemon hidden ability except Regigigas, which still to this day gets fucked. Infinite use TMs, which were so good and so universally loved by the community They took them out in Gen 8 for some fucking reason. Oh, it's so good. They're so good. Oh, by the way, as an aside, another point down for Gen 4 was the overuse of HMs. You really needed HMs in that fucking game. To the point of HM. Like, HMs were toned down in Gen 5, I feel like, compared to Gen 4. That's just what it is. Oh, Gen 5 is just so beautiful. It's so beautiful in every way. And then we have Pokemon X and Y, which is, as we all know, Generation 6. Now, Generation 6 is what one could say one of the worst generations. And you would be right. Generation 6, on the level, let's be honest, sucks. Playing through Gen 6 is trash. The region sucks. It did add a lot of new cool Pokemon, but Generation 6 sucks. The gyms suck. The Elite Four sucks. The Champion sucks. Though her theme slaps. But I have to rank X and Y higher than I originally thought I would. And the reason why is because X and Y left behind a legacy. The sheer amount of quality of life changes in X and Y is fucking insane. Fairy typing, custom trainers, buffs and nerfs started happening to Pokemon. They nerfed Steel. Like, they added so much good, like, the Reign of Dragons ends in Generation 6, and Fairies rolls up in their place. And let's not forget, the biggest change of all, as we all know if you've seen my fucking streams, they nerfed critical hits, which to this day is still possibly one of the best changes in all of Pokemon. So yes, X and Y on the level suck, but the quality of life means they have to be ranked higher, just because of how much they added, you know? And so I will put them here, and I will rank them differently, and here's why. Because X has Xerneas, and if you've ever played competitive, you hate Xerneas. I'm just gonna say it. You hate Xerneas. The story in X and Y sucks, the region sucks, everything sucks. But the Pokemon added, the quality of life, the custom trainer stuff, all... Also, this generation introduced Sky Battles and Inverse Battles, which, let's be honest, is trash. Also, fun fact, when Generation 6 first came out, I hated it. And I still hate it. But I saw Mega Evolutions, and I was like, what is this? What in the name of Digi-Evolution is this hot shit? You know? This was me with Mega Evolution. I was like, get this out of my face. And then I tried it, and I was like, wait, I love it. I actually love it. Mega Evolution was so fucking good. They need to bring it back. They should bring it back. Which brings us, boys and girls. Also, actually, no. Here's a question about X and Y. Why the fuck do the starters in X and Y not have Megas? What the fuck was that design choice? They needed to give Charizard two. True! Zygarde didn't get shit, which is still, to this day, extremely funny. Which brings us to the other two games in Generation 6. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, Alpha Sapphire, of course, goes down here, because if you support Team Aqua, you're trash. And I hate you. Team Magma for life. Now, Ruby, I have ranked pretty highly here. And Omega Ruby, I would say general opinion on the Gen 3 remakes is that they're not good. However, controversially, I disagree. I truly believed the Gen 3 remakes were a step in the right direction, which BDSP then turned 180 degrees away from and went the opposite way. But Omega Ruby was the Gen 3 games, but they just improved them. They made story changes using the red and blue orb to create like fucking suit. Like in Omega Ruby, you take the orb to make this fucking like mecha suit, which you have to wear to dive into the volcano so that Groudon doesn't fucking melt your skin off. It introduced the primal forms of the two legendaries, which was fucking sick. It had Mega Evolutions for the starter Pokemon. It had the Dex Nav, which, if you've never played the Gen 3 remakes, the Dex Nav is fucking sick, by the way. It did have some control issues, Like, and I don't know if you know this, because the game was in 3D, the control was omnidirectional. However, if you went indoors, it was 8-directional, which means you could run a circle outside, but you could not run a circle inside. You would run an octagon. I don't know why it was like that. It was definitely strange. Also, visually, I will say the Elite Four is probably the best Elite Four visually. In the Elite Four for Omega Ruby, you have to walk across these bridges, and each bridge and each building that you walk into has this like beautiful aesthetic, and they're all different depending on the Elite Four trainer you're fighting. It's fucking sick. It's genuinely sick. Also, this game has the Delta episode, which is like brand new content, which was sick, by the way. Like, how do people rank this game badly? You climb on Mega Rayquaza in a spacesuit, ride him into space, blow up a meteorite, and then fight Deoxys in space on a space station. How do people think that's not cool? It's so fucking sick. Oh my god, I love this fuck. Genuine. Also, I don't know if you've seen the starting cinematic. So it has the starting of Generation 3 here. I love this so much. This is so fucking cool. And then it reveals you're watching it on the Dex nav and you're in the back of the truck. How fucking sick is that? Oh my, it's so fucking good. I fucking love this fucking... Genuinely, honestly, I would say the best remake we've had. I find it funny that it's still keeping the move. It's awesome. It's the Dex nav that you have throughout the entire game, which is the bottom screen in the 3DS. Which you can like use, which you can find like hidden ability Pokemon or shinies on, or you can like watch fucking TV channels and shit, or you can like call people. I want to replay through that game so much. It's so fucking good. It's so good. I fucking love that fucking game so much. And like they made changes to the region, right? The Morville City change, where like, Morville City is, like, a completely different fucking place. Like, have you seen that? So, this is Morville City. This is Morville City. And then, this is it in fucking... And then this is it in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Like, it's so like, it's an entire fucking thing. Like, with multiple floors. Like, all these different fucking stuff. Like, oh my god, it's so good. Like, this is, like, this right here is what I wanted to see. And also, this in the fucking middle is beautiful. Like, this. Oh my god. And you can see this from the roof. From here. Like, oh my, it's so fucking good. I love this. This is what I want them to do. I don't want them to remake regions. I want them to revisit regions with changes. I want to see how the region has changed, like, in the past 10 years, you know? Like, when we see Red and Blue show up in Gen 7, and they're, like, older, and they're, like, friends now, I want to see those changes in the old... Like, I want to go back to Kanto. I want to see how the gyms have changed. I want to see how the routes have changed. I want to see what new Pokemon have shown up. I want to see how the Elite Four has changed. I want to see, you know, like, changes to Red and Blue and Leaf. You know, I want to see changes to Professor Oak, who's probably dead now, because he's, like, 700 years old. I want to see Lily from Gen 7 in Kanto, because it's where she... You know, they have so many cool things they can do, and they don't fucking do it. No. Here's the thing about Gen 5. Gen 5 was a reboot of the series with Unova, and I want them to reboot the series in Gen 10. I really do. I really hope they, like think about the future of Pokemon in Generation 10, because it'd be so fucking cool for them to do that. But yeah, I love Omega Ruby. I love Omega Ruby. It's also naturally better than Alpha Sapphire because Team Magma for life. Which brings us, as I just mentioned, to Generation 7. Now, here's the thing. I will confess, I played these games out of order. I played Ultra before I played regular Sun and Moon. And most people would play Sun and Moon above Ultra because they prefer the story. Personally, I preferred the story in Ultra because while Lucamine turning into like a hot tentacle Pokemon was very, cool, I much preferred the story in Ultra, where you get the fucking sick boss fight against Ultra Necrozma, by the way, with its sick fucking theme. Damn, it was so fucking cool. Hold on, I'm actually gonna play that theme right now. I'm putting that theme on, and no one can stop me. No one can stop me. Here we go. Yeah. Bro, fucking getting into the boss fight against Ultra Necrozma with this theme was fucking sick. Here's the thing about Gen 7, okay? You may know this, but I love Gen 7 because, like Hoenn, it felt unique as a region, The routes felt unique, the towns and, all the ocean stuff felt unique because it's like a bunch of islands. There's no gyms. The totem Pokemon are fucking, just such a cool boss design encounter. Team Skull was fucking awesome, with Guzma and shit. How, in retrospect, was a pretty good rival. I haven't really spoken about the rivals in the past games, but the rivals in Gen 6 were nothing to speak about. Brendan is, of course, trash. Wally, they did some justice in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The rivals in Black and White were very good with Cherry and Bianca. They were very diverse. Hugh was trash. Barry, I liked as a rival. But yeah, How, honestly, in retrospect, I really like How as a rival. And I'll touch on that when I talk about Ultra. But Sun and Moon, I will put Sun and Moon as an A rank, honestly. I just think they're very good games. They feel unique. And they added like a lot of cool new stuff. Z-moves were trash. They were obviously experimental because they only stuck around for one generation as opposed to Megas, which stuck around for two. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Sun and Moon, but Ultra is, to me, S rank. And here's why. The story changes were better. Controversial opinion, I know. But diving into the Ultra wormhole and flying through, like, Ultra space to come out into Ultra Necrozma's world where you have to fight against the being with this track playing as it threatens to break through your world and consume all light is fucking sick as fuck. And then, as a bonus, after the game, Giovanni shows up with Team Rocket. You team up with Guzma, who beats the shit out of some fucking grunts, and which has one of the funnier animations, by the way. And then you have to fight all the previous evil team leaders in order. So you have to fight Maxie and Archer, Cyrus. You have to fight Getsis, that guy from Team Flare who no one can remember. Lysandre, I think his name is. The twat who no one cared about. And then at the end you have to fight Giovanni with his fucking... And they all have Mega Evolutions, except Maxie and Archer also have... I believe they also have Primal, Kyogre, and Groudon. And then you have fucking Giovanni, who has fucking Mega Mewtwo. Oh my god, it was so sick! As an aside, the music in this game is very good. And also, something I really liked about Ultra compared to Sun and Moon, when you get to the champion, when you beat the Elite Four in Sun and Moon, you find the Professor. And that's cool that the final fight is against the Professor. However, Ultra did something cooler, which is you have to fight How as your first champion fight. You may not think this is anything major. You may recognize this as the start of the Gen 1 theme, right? And the reason for this is because in a direct reversal of Generation 1, you play the role of Blue in Ultra, where you defeat the Elite Four before How does, and then you become champion. And so when How, who in this instance is playing Red, he defeats the Elite Four and gets to the champion, but finds out you've already won, and he now has to fight you, his rival, as the champion. It's such a great reversal of Generation 1. It's so fucking good. And people hate that? Get the fuck out of here. Also, Gen 7 introduced Ultra Beasts, which is, let's be honest, fucking sick. Also, actually, do you know what? I'm going to rank these higher. And do you know why? Do you know why I'm going to rank these higher? Because they introduced something we'll all forget. Wait, did they introduce this? I believe they did. Was it Generation 7 that removed HM moves, or was that Gen 6? Yeah, So Gen 7 removed HMs, which automatically makes it the best generation. Let's be honest here. And then there's the Let's Go games, which they automatically get relegated to here because they give you an Eevee you can't fucking evolve. What were they thinking? They gave you a Pokemon whose entire shtick is evolution and you can't evolve it. What is the point of this fucking thing? These games also ruined Eevee and Pikachu. I don't know if they've reversed this chain, but these games gave Eevee and Pikachu their anime cries, so they say their names. And that continued in Sword and Shield and BDSP, I think, right? And that was an awful change. I think we can all agree the Pokemon not saying their names is like one of the better parts of the games, in my opinion. Like, if you've watched the Generations anime on YouTube, it's just better when they don't say their names. It makes them feel more like monsters, you know? I mean, the anime Pokemon saying their name did, you know, make me like certain Pokemon more, like Torkoal or Krogunk. Dude, Krogunk probably has the best voice in the anime. I can't show the scene on stream. Just look up Krogunk tanking Dialga's attack. Krogunk fucking tanks Dialga's Roar of Time and then just like sits there just fucking croaking. It's so cool. But yeah, Sword and Shield. Let's be honest. I don't like Sword and Shield. I want to be biased to Sword and Shield, but Sword and Shield to me has Generation 6 syndrome. The games themselves suck, but they introduced an extremely good amount of quality of life changes. Like the ability, I believe they introduced the ability to change abilities and natures in Generation 8. I believe that was a Gen 8 thing. Was Ability Patch Gen 8? Okay, so Ability Capsule is Gen 6, but Ability Patch is Gen 8. I think you can also change natures in Gen 8. Alright, okay, here's the thing. I don't like Dynamax. I'll be honest, I don't like Dynamax. It was okay competitively for like a generation, but I think it's like universally agreed Dynamaxing was broken because you could like set up like terrain, tailwind, and like weather like so easily with Dynamax moves. So yeah, Sword and Shield story, trash. Rivals mid, music very good as usual, quality of life good, wild area pretty fucking good, let's be honest. Raid dens were a very good introduction because it gave you like the XP stuff, which meant you could fucking farm XP, oh my god, Gen 8 made grinding so much fucking easier with XP candy. Oh my god, XP candy is so good, it's so good. So again, I have to rank Sword and Shield high because the quality of life is so good. I'm a big fan of quality of life changes, you know? Because they're not things restricted to a specific game. They affect the franchise. So its quality of life changes would make this game an A rank, in my opinion. However, Sword and Shield themselves are trash. And they also removed two major things which I cannot agree with. They removed infinite use TMs, and they removed Megas. So they have to be dragged down. I would put them in B tier. Wait, I'm gonna put Sword in... No, I'm gonna put Shield in B tier and Sword in A tier. And the reason why is because Sword introduced Zacian, and we all hate Zacian. Let's be honest here. Zacian sucks. We all hate it. And we have BDSP. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. These were the games that were sacrificed in order to make a good game. These are the games which, much like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, didn't fix anything. Did they? No, they made it worse. However, BDSP is why you should be very careful what you ask for. People asked for Diamond and Pearl remakes. What people wanted was a Platinum remake. And when they got Diamond and Pearl, they were not happy because Diamond and Pearl sucked. However, BDSP does have something going for it that no other Pokemon game has going for it, which will net it its own tier. And I will, of course, put it above Aqua because it deserves it. You ready? These games are, I believe, made in Unity, which makes them very modifiable, which makes them for very good because typically, Pokemon games are very difficult to modify, which is why Gens 4 through 8 aren't very well modded. But these games are in Unity, so they're very easy to hack. So these have like cool mods. So people have like follower Pokemon in these games, and like accurately sized follower Pokemon, which is fucking great. People have modified accurately sized follower Pokemon And so like Whale Lord will like take up an entire city. It's fucking awesome. Which brings us to the first instance of a generation with 5 core mainline games in them. Because Legends Arceus is a core mainline game. Some people like to argue it's not. Those people are wrong. And I'm going to be honest with you. This, I would argue, is the best Pokemon game they've ever made. The reason why this is because this game finally fixed the fucking 3D models. They fixed them. Game Freak learned how to put shaders on their models. They learned what shadows were. These games are perfect, honestly. Like it has a good story. It visually looks amazing. Like obviously it's a Pokemon game, so some visuals are just not there. But like when you compare the 3D world to like the like Sword and Shield and X and Y and shit, it looks fucking beautiful. The introduction of Hisuian forms was... The Hisuian Pokemon are so good. I mean, that's more of a point for Gen 7, sorry, because that introduced regional forms, which is, I would say to this day, one of the best like gimmicks they've introduced, and I'm glad it stuck around. I don't agree with the origin forms of Dialga and Palkia. I don't know why they look like My Little Pony fan art, but, you know, it is what it is. You can catch Pokemon without battling them. How fucking good... Like, you can catch Pokemon without battling them. Wild Grass. You cannot encounter a Pokemon in Wild Grass in this game. However, Wild Grass still has a use in which you can use Wild Grass to hide from... If you crouch in Wild Grass, Pokemon can't see you. Unless they see you go into the grass. It has Alpha Pokemon, which are fucking sick. It has, like, the distortion shit, so you can, like, farm Pokemon and items. It's so good. I want them to do more Legends games. I really hope they... Okay, this might be a controversial opinion. But I truly believe that I want them to make more... I want them to focus on games like this. I truly believe this is the future of Pokemon. I want like I said earlier, I want in Generation 10 for them to reboot the franchise like they tried in Gen 5. And I want them to make games like this. Fuck this shit. Make these. Make these games. Legends Arceus was fucking peak Pokemon. It's so good. Like, people who played Legends Arceus wanted to do the Pokedex. Like, you actually wanted to complete the Pokedex. Because there was reason to, you know? It wasn't just like a thing you sometimes do. It was a thing you actively wanted to do. The crafting didn't feel obnoxious. Gathering didn't feel obnoxious. You could throw your Pokemon out their Pokeballs and interact with them. Like, oh, it was so good, bro. Alpha Pokemon was sick because, and not only Alpha Pokemon, but Pokemon had varied size. You could catch, like, small and large Pokemon. And, like, there were size differences in Pokemon. Like, oh, bro. I might replay through Legends Arceus. I really might. This game is good. I really like this game. I really like this game. I would say this is my favorite Pokemon game of all time. I love the Ultra games. I love Omega Ruby. I love Gen 5. But Legends Arceus is just... It does have the Gen 7 issue. I wish the cutscenes were skippable. But other than that, this game is like... Legends Arceus is the first time a 3D game has looked good for Pokemon, in my opinion. Like, this game is awesome. Just running around in this game felt great. It really did. Also, you had a weird Team Rocket encounter in this game. The Bandit Trio sisters, they acted like Team Rocket just randomly showing up to fight you. And then we have Scarlet and Violet. Generation 9. Generation 9. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't finished Gen 9. I'm in the wild area, and I haven't gone through it because I can't be bothered. I would say Gen 9 is the first time since Generation 5 we've had, like, a really good rival. Nemona's a pretty fucking good rival. However, like all things Game Freak, they shoot for a target, and it almost looks like it's gonna hit, and then they miss the mark. They made a truly open-world Pokemon game, and then they didn't make it scale. Which is bizarre because Nemona scales. Where Nemona challenges you depends on how many badges you have. It is not what gyms you've beaten, it's how many badges you have, okay? Which means, logically speaking, Nemona's team scales to the amount of badges you have, okay? So why could they not just make the fucking gyms like that? And I know some people are going to be like, well, that would take a lot of memory. Pokemon is the biggest media franchise on the planet. It is literally the biggest media franchise on the planet. They should be able to afford to do that, you know? They should absolutely be able to afford that. Why haven't they done that? It'd be so easy to do for them. But here's my biggest issue with this fucking game. I spoke about this, I think, yesterday. There's no wild grass in this game, which is fine. There was no wild grass encounters in Legends Arceus, which is ranked here. However, there is no way in this game to consistently avoid wild Pokemon, because some Pokemon are so fucking small at night that you can't avoid them. Like, because they get in the fucking... I want an item that makes it so Pokemon can't interact with me. That is what I want from this game. I think Terra's a cool mechanic though. I like Terra. Terrestrialization is pretty cool. I think once again, they didn't utilize it correctly. They should have made non-monotype teams to utilize this, in my opinion. The only cool instance of terrestrialization used in this game was Iono, because she terrors her Miss Magius into an electric type, which has levitate, so her Pokemon doesn't have any weaknesses. That is the only good instance of it being used. Otherwise, they make the Pokemon worse 90% of the time. That said, I do like the bike in this. I think the bike is cool. I think the story is cool. I don't like that you have to do all 3 routes to beat this game. This game is sold as a free roam game, but it's not a free roam game because you have to do the content to beat the game. Like, we've been asking for years, like since Generation 3, for the ability to beat the game without having to become champion, like through contests. They pitched that with this game. They didn't follow through, which sucks. So, honestly, also they took away customization options, which is fine for a game, but on principle, I hate it. So yeah, I will say these games are a B tier, in my opinion. They have a lot of good quality of life stuff, but there's a lot bringing these games down, you know? There's a lot bringing these games down, in my opinion. I hate Arvin. The soundtrack's pretty good. It has Penny's theme, which is like the best theme track in all of Pokemon. Actually, I'm going to put Black and White 2 above Omega Ruby, because it has the Pokemon War Tournament. So yeah, I think this would be my final list, which I know there's some people who aren't going to like this list. A lot of Pokemon fans are not going to like this list, because I rated some real fan favorites low on this list. But here's the thing about the Ultra games. The only complaint people have about Gen 7 is the cutscenes. If these games didn't have cutscenes, people would love these games, in my opinion. Well, what theme is this? Hold on. Pause, champ. Pause, champ. This is Kanto Trainer Battle theme. I knew I recognized it. I should fucking recognize it, because we're about to go to Kanto, baby!